Ladies and gentlemen, with $53,000 broken and Bitcoin surging 12% in the last 24 hours, we are breaking an 11-year-long macro trend that suggested a correction before the halving. And with the break of this macro trend, a couple of questions come to mind. 1, will Bitcoin continue higher? 2, will Bitcoin start an early cyclical bull market that could be reaching all-time highs within a couple of months? And 3, if the market is breaking macro trends, can it break the 4-year cycle? We'll also be looking into short-term price action and what's actually happened specifically in the last 24 hours. Big stuff to discuss today. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it.
Before we get into the content, go down to the description below and find the VIP altcoin trading group on Telegram. The link down there will lead you to this group chat right here, which shows you the payment information and also the trading results. You can also find the BitGet and BingX exchanges. Those are the exchanges I advertise on this YouTube channel. I picked them on my own accord. I reached out to them for partnership. They did not reach out to me. Referral links down below and all the necessary information is down there as well. And then also the Crypto Academy's Become a Trader 10-unit course will teach you everything you need to know about trading if you're an aspiring trader or just want to learn more about charts. Guys, without further ado, let's get into it. We've got a lot to discuss today. Guys, Bitcoin is up big. That is the reality that we are looking at today. We've seen, as per yesterday's video. Now, let me be very clear. In yesterday's video, I was on the fence, but I pointed out this line here, this 4-hourly chart RSI line. I said if that line broke to the upside, because we had a triangular structure of some sort, I said if it broke to the upside, we would be seeing a retest and possibly a breakout above 53K. I also said there is a short-term descending structure, which is generally a bullish structure. I admitted that the short and medium-term timeframes were very bullish, actually. It was the macro that was holding me back for being fully on the bullish plane of field. That's why I was on the fence. But we have seen, as per the analysis in yesterday's video, a short-term breakout of that 4-hourly chart RSI line and a break above 53K. A very, very big move to the upside. In fact, the move stemmed from the base to the top around 11%. 11%, a big move, right? In under 24 hours, around 12 hours of movement leads to an 11% pump. That's huge, right? And now we have a situation in which Bitcoin is becoming almost unstoppable. But the question is it actually unstoppable? Have we actually broken macro trends? Have we actually done enough on Bitcoin to secure an early start to the bull market? And I think we are 90% of the way there. I'm going to show you why. I'm going to look at this macro trend here first and foremost, and we'll dive into some other charts. And then in tomorrow's video, we're going to be looking into, will Bitcoin reach an all-time high as per the 4-year cycle, or will it do a super cycle of some sort, or a left side translated cycle where it tops out earlier than expected? That's a lot of stuff we're going to discuss in tomorrow's video, but I'm going to give you a brief introduction to it also today. Let's start with the macro chart here. Now, we had a macro trend on Bitcoin, okay? A trend that stemmed from the first halving, basically from 2013, the first halving obviously being in 2012. And it essentially was a structural trend. So basically what this trend identifies, it's not the 4-year cycle, right? But it is a component of the 4-year cycle. And it basically means that every single cycle we have the same kind of structure forming on Bitcoin as measured through Fibonacci and as measured through visual observations, right? And through RSI. So we have, for example, the Fibonacci level in green at 0.618. In 2015 and 2016, we rejected from that level. We also rejected from the RSI line at 67, the yellow line here, at the same time as seeing a rejection from that level. It led to a pre-halving correction before the bull market, pretty significant correction. The exact same thing happened in 2019, rejected from that 0.618 level, as well as the RSI level at 67. And in this cycle, right, just, the last month or so, we reached the same level. We reached 0.618 on the Fibonacci. We also reached the same level on the RSI. And so the thing that was holding me back from saying that Bitcoin was 100% bullish, going to go up here straight away, was that you can't really be bullish at a rejection zone in an 11-year macro trend. It's not really logical to do that. Now, sparing that, everything in the chart looked good. And sparing that, the ETF narrative, the ETF reality really, was obviously enough to push Bitcoin higher. But the fact of the matter is, you can't really be bullish at a major resistance zone and a rejection point of a macro trend. What I've said over and over again, okay, I have not switched up at all. My opinion has been the same the entire time. A lot of people flip-flop on crypto YouTube. That's not me. What I've said the entire time is that if Bitcoin breaks 53 to 53.5K, this macro trend will be invalidated, okay? And we will head upwards for an all-time high sooner than expected. Because as per the regular Bitcoin charts, as per prior analysis, or the best analysis we had at the time, we were expecting an all-time high breakout towards the end of this year, November, December. Now that is identified via a trend on Bitcoin that is forming. If we take a measurement from the all-time high of the prior cycle to a break of that all-time high in the following cycle, it takes around 1,100 days. That's happened on 2 separate occasions. Obviously, 2 times is not a trend, but given the fact that there's many developing micro trends that surround those numbers, it is enough to be slightly confident in. And so our previous estimation of the vast majority of people in cryptocurrency, because it's an actual thing you can look at, was that we'd be reaching an all-time high around December or November this year. But now, as we see, this yellow level, this Fibonacci level at 0.618 break earlier than expected and break without correction, okay, it does stand to reason that we could be seeing a break of all-time high earlier than expected. Okay, that's certainly a possibility, is on the table. I'm going to discuss that more in depth in tomorrow's video, but we also have another trend, right? And it's in regards to this RSI line. You can see here at 67.9 on the monthly chart RSI. What you'll see, let me just get this up for you so you can see it, is that basically this level, this yellow line on the RSI is very, very important. And you'll see that when we drop below that line to the time in which we get back above it, after seeing a rejection and correction, it takes about 1,000 days. It took 1,000 days in 2014. It took 1,000 days in 2018. And right now, if it was to take 1,000 days again, and if it was to break out of this line 1,000 days from when it broke down originally from it at the November 2021 top, that would take us to around August this year. So as per the macro trend, which is now pretty much broken for the most part, okay, I'll discuss that in a second a bit more. As per the macro trend, we were only expecting a breakout of this yellow RSI line on the monthly chart at 67, which corresponded to the 53K level in around August this year. And then we were expecting a break of all-time high in around November to December. But as I've said, we are moving fast here. We're moving quickly. We're moving quicker than expected. There's actually, there was no real macro basis for a move happening this fast. It's clearly been exacerbated by massive changes in the fundamentals for Bitcoin in terms of ETFs, in terms of massive amounts of ETFs buying, and potentially in terms of a lot more people knowing about the 4-year cycle, so a lot more people front-running their buys. They're not waiting anymore. They're just buying now because they know it's going to go upwards in the future, right? That could be a part of it as well. There could be a psychological factor. Fact of the matter is, the trends still matter, and the fact of the matter is, this is a monthly chart trend. And although I'm 95% sure this macro trend is broken and we need to look in alternate places now, it is also only 2 days and 15 hours into the monthly candle close. So I will say that only really in 2 days and 15 hours am I going to be 100% sure that this macro trend is actually broken. Until that point, I'm 95% sure. I'm not going to rule it out completely when we're just 2 days out from a monthly candle close. That's ridiculous. So, who knows if we see a massive drop here in the next 2 days and 15 hours, then, it would have been best to discuss it, which is what I'm doing now, right? So Bitcoin needs to close the monthly candle above 53K. And if we do that, Bitcoin will have confirmed a break of this macro trend, and then we need to look in other places to determine where Bitcoin's going to go next. Right now, Bitcoin has done a lot. Its bullish price action has literally led to the almost confirmed, 95% chance confirmed breakout of an 11-year macro trend. That is good in a way, but it's also bad in a way, right? It's not a fully good thing because, yeah, although Bitcoin's going up, Bitcoin price going up is good because we make money. We also need to understand that breaking macro trends that have been there for 11 years is not really that good for us because predictability is what makes us money, right? The market can go wherever it wants. The market can go to $1 million tomorrow. If you haven't predicted that it's going to go to $1 million and acted based on those predictions, you're not going to make any money. So realistically, predictability is more important than where and when the market goes somewhere. And we've lost a degree of predictability by breaking this macro trend, or at least we might break this macro. Well, look. As I said, in 2 days and 15 hours, we'll know for sure. But at this point, it's looking very likely that we would have broken that macro trend and lost that predictability. So it's a bittersweet moment, really. It's a double-edged sword when you break macro trends. Yeah, you make money, and yeah, you get to make more money sooner than expected. But you've also lost a large part of cyclical predictability, which could be damaging in the next cycle when you don't know what's going to happen here. Because you think about it now, when we return to this similar part of the market cycle, if we return to this part of the market cycle again without further breaks of macro trends, then we won't know what's going to happen anymore because we deviated so rapidly this time. But anyway, moving on from that macro trend, we'll discuss it more tomorrow. Moving on from that macro trend, though, that has been broken. Obviously, Bitcoin's moved up 11%. Bitcoin has also broken the $1 trillion market cap resistance. The total cryptocurrency market cap has broken the $2 trillion market cap resistance. We have seen Bitcoin move upwards all the way to its next resistance zone. This is something we need to discuss. There is resistance now. So obviously the prior zone was 53K. The current zone we're facing for resistance on Bitcoin is around 57.5K. That is our next major resistance zone. And as a matter of fact, we've almost tested it. We've gone upwards to 57, 57.5, as you can see, is where the volume profile spikes upwards. That is our next major resistance block. So we're actually at the doorstep of it already. And this is generally what you see when you break macro resistance levels. Like, for example, when we broke 35K, what do? 38K, sorry. We skyrocketed pretty much straight away upwards to the next major macro resistance level at 49K. Yeah, it didn't happen straight away, but it took a decent amount of time, but ultimately that was the next stop. Right now, we've already done that, right? We've already broken 53K and we've already gone upwards without without a break to 57.5. We're already testing that next major resistance level. And let me tell you right now, above 57.5, there is really not much remaining until we reach something like $69,000 on Bitcoin. I also want to make something very clear. Looking at this macro trend on the screen, just discussing it one more time here. Looking at this macro trend, what we can see is that when we break the yellow line, when we break the Fibonacci level, which is what we're breaking right now, it takes about a month and a half to 2 months to reach all-time highs, historically. A month and a half to 2 months in January, a month and a half to 2 months in September. And if it takes a month and a half to 2 months, we could be reaching all-time highs on Bitcoin within the month of March or April. It could be very, very close, very, very soon. So, we'll wait for 100% confirmation of that breakout of the macro trend in 2 days and 15 hours. But currently, it's looking like Bitcoin could actually be seeing all-time highs within the next 2 months. And obviously seeing as we've broken this part of the macro trend, there's no real cause to be 100% sure we would follow the other part of the macro trend, which is that when we break the yellow line, Bitcoin sees an all-time high in 2 months or less than 2 months. You know what I mean? You can't really rely on one part but disregard the other. So it's just speculation when I say that Bitcoin could be reaching all-time highs within a month to 2 months, because that's part of the macro trend, and we just broke part of that macro trend. So who's to say, one part's reliable and the other part's not because it's broken? I hope you can understand what I mean there. A little bit of a word salad trying to explain that one. But anyway, we'll discuss all of this more tomorrow. And there's a reason why I'm pushing it back to tomorrow's video, because tomorrow's video is going to be very, very important, okay? In tomorrow's video, I'm going to be showing you the chances of Bitcoin seeing a top earlier than expected in the 4-year cycle. Basically, the chances of the 4-year cycle breaking. Because yes, this macro trend breaking, or in the process of breaking, is not a complete invalidation of the 4-year cycle, because the 4-year cycle, of course, predicts a top in October 2025. And again, this macro trend breaking does not invalidate the 4-year cycle as a whole, because the 4-year cycle is based on tops and bottoms. But it is a dent in the armor. And with a break of this macro trend, we do really need to start considering the idea of the bull market looking different to what we have previously seen before, because we are acting slightly differently. Okay, if we're acting differently, there's different characteristics. If we're moving faster than expected, we can expect reasonably that there is going to be a different end result, right? If Bitcoin keeps doing what it's doing and it closes the monthly candle above 53K in 2 days and 15 hours, there's no proper reason to believe with a break of one 11-year macro trend that it couldn't break more macro trends. And so it does put the idea of a super cycle or a left translated cycle onto the table for the first time in a proper sense, right? Previously, it's been speculative. Now it's actually supported by data. We're breaking macro trends. Who's to say we can't break more macro trends is what I'm saying. So in tomorrow's video, I'm going to discuss the possibility of the 4-year cycle actually breaking and where Bitcoin will go if the 4-year cycle does break. And it's a very important video. I'm very excited to make it. But as of right now, what has Bitcoin done? It's broken 53K pretty decisively. We need to be seeing a monthly candle close above 53K to completely get rid of this chart and never look at it again. But right now, it's looking very likely we will do that. Bitcoin's moved upwards very rapidly. It's identified its next major resistance zone at 57.5K. It's looking good, okay? That's the reality. Guys, more tomorrow. I'll discuss Bitcoin dominance also tomorrow, and I'll discuss cycling it from Bitcoin into altcoins and things like that in the days that follow. I don't want to jam too much into one video. I don't think it's necessary to do. I'm giving you an update on what's occurred and an update on what's occurred in relation to macro trends. That's what's important. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Again, check out VIP group, check out BingX and BitGet Exchange, and check out Crypto Academy. All the links are below. Thanks, guys.